Now, without a P&L or income statement, you're running blind in your business. So today I'm going to be breaking down two of the ways that you can easily set up an income statement and have more clarity on where all the money is coming and going in your business. So if that's something that interests you, be sure you stay tuned. So what is an actual profit and loss statement? Now, this is just a financial statement that pretty much is going to summarize your revenues, your costs, and your expenses, right? Incurred during whatever specific period that you're looking at. So you can look at it at any period of time, right? From a month, a quarter, a fiscal year, whatever you want. Now, at the end, these records are going to be used to calculate your business's net profit or loss during that actual period. So for me, I find that it's very important that you're comparing your profit and loss statements from different accounting periods to just be able to see what kind of changes that you have over time. And that's where you're going to be able to get more meaningful numbers than you just looking at one statement itself. Okay. So you want to compare, you can compare month to month, or maybe you compare, how did I do January this January compared to January of last year, right? And see where the growth is in your business. This can also give you a clear picture into profitability and in which direction it's actually trending. Now, I'm going to be showing you two methods today, guys, and you can choose the method that works best for you based on where your business is. So one of the methods I'm going to start with is going to be Google Sheet, okay, which I'm actually going to provide to you. I'll link down below. Now, if you have lower revenue, this is more than likely going to be the best for you, right? This could mean maybe you're making a couple $100s a month or even a couple thousand, depending on how complex your business actually is. Now, the second method is an actual accounting software. And in this case, we're going to be looking specifically at QuickBooks Online. Now, I run a bookkeeping company and we focus strictly on QuickBooks for Shopify sellers. And I'll show you exactly how you can actually pull the reports and get the most value from it, okay? Now, I recommend you start leveraging QuickBooks Online as soon as possible. So if you're using the Google Sheet, once you see that, your business is starting to get a lot more sales, I recommend you switch over to QuickBooks Online because that's where it's going to make sure that everything's going to be as accurate as possible. The reason why I say that is because, you want to make sure that your profit and loss is actually accurate. You got to make sure that your inputs are accurate. The reason why you want to make sure your inputs are accurate is because you could end up making bad decisions when it comes to business strategy because the information you're looking at is just not correct in any sense, right? Let's say, you didn't correctly calculate your revenue, right? Because you were the one manually inputting everything instead of using software. Now that could drive your actual business decisions because you might think that you have less income or your net income is incorrect compared to what you're actually seeing on the income statement, right? And that's why I like using software like QuickBooks Online so much because it limits those kinds of mistakes because you're pretty much automating the majority of the process. So now let's go ahead and jump into my computer. And first, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you how to actually set up the Google Sheet and how to actually type in information and add different charts of accounts and things like that. And then once I finish, I'll move over to QuickBooks Online and I'm gonna show you with a sample company how you actually go about just pulling the reports and doing a few different searches and running a few different numbers for you to be able to get the full benefit of how to get your P&L sheet. Alrighty, so here is the P&L statement. So when you click the link, you're going to be able to download this P&L statement. I'm going to link to it down below. And it's pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward. It's going to have, based off of columns, you're going to see it has the months here broken down. And then, so basically this month right here is going to be all the data and it actually does the calculations itself. So for example, these numbers here, you're not changing. You're only going to be inputting, for example, on this row or in this section right here for the revenue, you're only going to be inputting these three boxes and then it'll do the calculations for you. And you'll actually be able to see the numbers change and I'll show you here in a bit. Now, this is going to be the revenue, expenses, and then below it, it's going to have your EBITDA, and then you can add your interest expenses and taxes depending on how you want to break that up, whether you calculate that monthly or you do it once a year, whatever, every quarter, whatever you want to choose. And then you don't touch this box either. So you're not going to touch this one. You're not going to touch pretty much all the ones that have this kind of color here. It's like a different shade. You're pretty much not touching. Okay. So to give you an example how that looks, let's say this was instead 11,000. Okay. You're going to see here, let's say I made this 0. You kind of see the numbers changing, right? Make this 1,000, right? We're definitely going to need columns. So let me just put this as 2,000, put this as 0, right? Boom. So you can see it calculated. Okay, my gross margin is 9,000. My gross margin percentage is 81%. Okay. And then I can slide down here and I can put whatever my, like my payroll, marketing, you can put all that stuff in here too, right? You can see if I zero out here, see the number, you can see the, here, total operating expenses is changing. So that it's calculating all the information that you're typing here. Now, some of you guys might look and say, hey, I have other expenses. These aren't all the expenses that I have. I need to add additional categories. So if you need to add additional categories, do not add a row here at the bottom. I recommend you do it, sort of somewhere in the middle. For example, let's say that I want to add, let's see, maybe I want to add phone. Okay. So I want to do my phone separately. I'll add it here. I add a row here. and then I type in telephone, boom, boom, carry that over like that so it draws it over, and I put in, let's say, 200 is my phone per month. Yep, and then that's how you do that. So you're going to be able to add whatever other categories that you want on there. So that's pretty much the gist of it. Once you do that, you'll see that down below here, it'll calculate your net profit, and you'll be able to see what you're doing month to month. So this is a great way, a pretty simple way for you to be able to, for you to be able to calculate all that information when it comes to you doing your books. If you're just doing like a couple hundred, you're not doing a ton of, you're not having a lot of actual transactions or revenue running through this. Okay, I would recommend you just do this like, if you're doing a couple hundred, maybe you're doing like 3,000, for example, something like that. Then it can make sense of you using this, and everything can work out on that end. But once you start getting to the more complex, then you want to look into using the QuickBooks Online, which I'll touch on right after this. Okay, so that's the gist of this, guys. You can click this down below if you want to use this. Now let's go ahead and jump into QuickBooks Online and take a look at that and how simple the process is with that. All right, so this is the QuickBooks platform here. It's a sample company, and I'm showing you a sample company. It's going to be Craig's Design and Landscaping Services. I'm going to show you how to actually go about getting your income statement from here. Okay, so this is what it's typically going to look like whenever you log in. Right, it's going to give you profit and loss. It usually has an actual breakdown here at the top, but this is just a sample company, so there's not really much in terms of transactions probably going through here. I'm not sure if QuickBooks is constantly adding or not, but this will give you a little bit of a breakdown in terms of profit and loss. But I would only look at this if you've already categorized the transactions. Okay. Now let's go look at the actual report. So what you want to do is click on reports. Then typically at the top, you'll see profit and loss. If you don't, you just need to scroll down here and you'll see profit and loss here as well. And here is your profit and loss statement here. Okay. So you'll see that it'll pop up. It'll typically do year to date. But I think there's a way you can actually change it to have it default to something else. But this is your year to date. It'll show you, as you can see, it breaks down. This is why your chart of accounts is so important, because it'll break down. That way you can see your income exactly the way you want to see it. As you can see, it has design income. It talks about discounts you've given, and it has your landscaping services as well. Boom, boom, boom. And this is telling you your in terms of job and materials and everything. And you could even click it down like this to be able to see. If you want to get more granular, you keep it open. If not, if you just want to see high level numbers, you can just zoom this in. And there you go. You see all of the services that have been offered, and it's 10,000. You can see all the way down. You see your expenses broken down as well here. Okay, legal fees, your accounting, bookkeeper, lawyer, so on and so forth. Right. So that's pretty much how it works. Okay, and then you see your net income here at the bottom line, and here's your net operating income. That's pretty much your gross profit is here, like we had touched on the other one. That's pretty much how it looks. You can adjust here to see whatever view you want to see. So if you want to see, by month, you want to see quarter to date, you can click there. I'm not sure how much information will pop up. Okay, yep, not much information is popping up. This is just on yours. It will show is just because, again, this is a sample company, so not much data has been actually set up here. But you'll be able to pull the data from here. I'll leave it for now to year to date, so we can see that. There we go. And then another thing you can actually do is you can actually compare different periods, right? So you can check these boxes here, right? You can see dollar change, percent change, whatever you want to see. Now there's no data, but this is where you would see, it would literally compare to that previous period. So January 1st to November 7, 2022, January 1st to November 7, 2021, right? And then you can kind of see what's the change. This is right now I had clicked dollar wise, but you can see percentage wise, whatever you want to see. This is great for you having giving you a little more in terms of your business strategy, and giving you more ideas in terms of, just giving you more business insights, right? Because you can use this to say, hey, I'm seeing that my costs have gone up. For example, I scroll down here and I see, okay, my advertising cost has gone up. That correlates with my revenue going up. Or maybe you look at your advertising, like I added, I increased the advertising spend, but my revenue went down. What could have caused that? So on and so forth, right? That's what makes this thing so powerful, is that you can look at the data, especially when you're comparing it to previous periods. And that's where you can get insights into what went right and what went wrong, right? Sometimes you might look at this and say, hey, my biggest month or my biggest quarter is Q4. I need to make sure that I do something to make sure that we have a successful fourth quarter, because that's where most of our revenue is driven, right? Or maybe, I had a big expense in 1 month, and that's what caused my revenues to be a little higher than normal. What can I do to make sure that doesn't happen again? Or my expenses be a little higher than normal. What can I do to make sure that doesn't happen again, right? So that's kind of how you want to look at this.
Anyways, that's the gist of it, guys. I can go deeper into this. Just let me know down below. But that should give you at least a starting point when it comes to pulling your income statement.
And there you have it. There's two ways that you can now be able to create an income statement. That way, you're able to make strategic business decisions and continue growing your store. Alrighty. So if you decide that you need help with your bookkeeping, we would be happy to help you. Feel free to reach out to us. I'll link to our website down below so you can actually reach out and hop on a call with us to see if we're going to be a good fit. Also, I'll be linking to a video here that's going to talk about how Shopify sellers should pay themselves from their business. And also be sure that you hit the subscribe button as well so you don't miss any of our future videos. Until then, I will see you at the next one. Peace.